only came and it went, but it could be staying in our hearts a bit longer. We're talking about that in just a moment on AM Kentucky.
From WBKO, your hometown news leader, this is AM Kentucky Live.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to AM Kentucky on this Tuesday, August 22nd. I'm Laura Rogers.
And I'm Tris Allen. Thank you for joining us on this Tuesday morning.
13 News traveled all over the area yesterday to cover events celebrating the eclipse, including Hopkinsville, Franklin, of course, Bowling Green, and just like hundreds of others, we got stuck in bumper-to-bumper traffic leaving those places, but everyone was all smiles regardless.
Yeah, it was truly an event meant to be seen with your own eyes, protected, of course, with the solar viewers or glasses. Cars lined up early in the morning to get a good spot, and within a few hours, everywhere you looked was packed full of people.
That led to strangers getting to know one another. New friends, new memories were made. Some say it is a memory they'll never forget.
I really don't even know how to describe it. It was just great. Like, that was on my bucket list too, so cross that off. It was just the most amazing thing I'd ever seen in my life.
Not even 10 years old, I don't think, and he has a bucket list.
Yeah.
That's pretty remarkable. If you didn't get a chance to see the eclipse in person, there it is right there. You can always check out what we covered on our website, but here are some of our favorite photos sent in to us from you, our viewers. I love the paper plates. Oh, wow, that's a really good photo. That's from Gary. There's one from Nancy Woods, and that was really cool to see the crescent shadows.
Yeah. Oh, that is so beautiful. Yeah. And from Ruth, you got the...
Here's Dorothy Ann Martin.
Dorothy Ann. Missed the last solar eclipse in '79, she said, but she didn't miss this one. And here's Buddy with his eclipse viewers, making sure the dogs and the cats and all the animals got to see the eclipse.
Had to take care of them too, but those paper plates, I saw a lot of kids doing that yesterday. The paper plates with the viewers, just keeping them on their face and really protecting
cut out
their
for
eyes.
Their nose so they could
sensitive.
breathe.
Well, yeah, they had to get their
talk. You know, 7-day forecast coming up.
The solar eclipse could still be having an effect on people today. Doctors tell reporters that they expect to see an uptick in patients today, possibly with delayed eye problems due to improper equipment or from simply staring too long into the sun with or without solar viewers. They say symptoms sometimes take a few hours to show up. You should see a doctor if you are experiencing eye irritation, blurred vision, distortions, blind spots, altered color vision, or headaches this morning. And if you or someone you know is taking a flight out of town this morning, make sure that you tell them to get to the airport at least 2 hours early. Officials at the Nashville International Airport say they are expecting long security lines and big crowds as visitors fly out from their eclipse viewing trips. Nashville was one of the largest cities on the path of totality. The airport says nearly 25,000 people are scheduled to depart today, up from an average of about 18,000. And also be sure to take it easy on the roads as visitors make their way out of town in the coming days. And officials in Leslie County, Kentucky will continue an investigation this morning after a crash during the eclipse claimed a life and put another woman in the hospital. Officials say the driver, Alyssa Noble, was speeding and crashed into a power pole and flipped her vehicle into pedestrians watching the eclipse. State police have identified the victims as Mackenzie Hayes and Rhonda Belcher. Hayes was killed at the scene. Belcher and Noble were flown to the hospital where their conditions remain unknown this morning.
Hometown news leader. This is AM Kentucky Live.
Good morning. Welcome to AM Kentucky. It is Thursday, August 31st. I'm Laura Rogers.
And I'm Chris Reese. Thank you for joining us on this rainy Thursday morning.
And we do have some breaking news this morning. 2 explosions have been reported at the Arkema chemical plant that is near Houston. And a police officer has been hospitalized for inhaling toxic fumes. The floodwaters in the area have risen above 40 inches. The cooling systems in the plant failed, leaving volatile chemicals vulnerable to ignite and explode.
Reports claim that 9 deputies in total drove themselves to the hospital after those chemical explosions rocked the plant, but only 1 is in serious condition. All other residents within a 1.5-mile radius have already been evacuated. Officials with Arkema say there was no way to prevent an explosion.
And we'll continue to follow that story. We will update you on possible after effects and that officer's condition as we receive that information. The floodwaters in Houston are slowly receding, but the death toll continues to slowly rise. Authorities confirmed last night that 6 more people have died, bringing the total to at least 31. Houston's fire chief Samuel Pena says that firefighters will begin extensive neighborhood searching this morning, which will take a couple of weeks to complete. Until then, a lot of focus is turning to cleanup and recovery since most home rescues are out of the way. Most city employees will not go back to work until next Tuesday. Returning home is still completely out of the question for tens of thousands of people. You can help in the recovery efforts from here at home by making a monetary donation to the American Red Cross by going to WBKO.com for a link. You can call 1-800-HELP-NOW or by texting Harvey to 90999. We are also teaming up with 100.7 Sam FM, 105.3 The Point, and the South Central Kentucky chapter of the American Red Cross to collect monetary donations. We're doing that today and tomorrow from 8 to 6 here at our WBKO studios, 2727 Russellville Road. Sam and The Point are also taking your donations until 6 o'clock tonight at their offices on McIntosh Street in Bowling Green.
It's going to be a long journey, but you know, it's going to be more than greatly appreciated.
A WKU police sergeant is preparing to personally help with flood relief in Texas. After picking up donated items from the FOP Lodge and Meadowland Church yesterday, Sergeant Rafael Casas says he is ready to go. The devastating floods hit home for this sergeant. He has family in the area, and he plans to drive down to Houston on Sunday with a truckload of food and supplies to help those in need.
Once I get there and I start seeing everything that's going on, I get to my family's house and see the devastation that's going on around them. It's going to be hard. And, you know, the only thing you don't want to do is, what can I do? I'm here. What do you need?
That trip to Houston can take at least 13 hours, could take longer with some weather impact. That's a drive that you've made many times.
Oh, yes, and usually I've had good weather for it, but the worst weather I've ever had, it took me about 13 and a half hours to go. So we'll see. He might run into some issues if the highways are flooded or closed. That could be one of those issues once he actually gets down.
Americans are mourning the loss of 16 service members who died in a cargo plane crash in rural Mississippi Monday afternoon. 15 Marines and a Navy corpsman. The aircraft, a Marine KC-130 cargo plane, was flying from North Carolina to California when something went terribly wrong.
First, it looked like a acrobatic plane, like a stunt plane, you know, blowing the smoke out the back, and then all of a sudden you realize that the smoke's coming off one of the sides of the wing.
Investigators are still combing through the wreckage, learning more this morning about what caused the crash. This event is the largest loss of life for the U.S. military since President Trump took office. The president tweeting that he and First Lady Melania sent their deepest condolences to all. A 79-year-old Kentucky man is found dead in McCreary County after a pack of dogs is caught on surveillance video attacking him. Kentucky State Police say Vincent Tucker was discovered yesterday morning laying in a yard off a highway. They say the video came from a camera at a nearby residence. Family members now left to deal with that sudden loss.
And figure out why it happened, for one thing. I mean, nobody should let dogs loose, you know, or run free that attack people.
The group of dogs in question were put down after the incident, but police say they do not know who owned them. Whoever they are could face charges. In the meantime, the dogs are being sent to veterinarian labs to be tested for diseases, including rabies. Separate investigations are underway in 2 Kentucky counties after dozens of cars and guns are stolen. Louisville and Nelson County authorities suspect an organized crime ring as well as bored teenagers are both responsible for thefts in their communities. Police say the break-ins are happening because people aren't locking their car doors.
Lock your vehicles. Don't make it easy access for them. As you see on the video, he checks doors, and as soon as he finds one that it's unlocked, he's taking his sweet time.
The biggest concern is over several cases of missing guns from those unlocked cars. Right now, authorities say they think they know who the teen suspects are. They are asking the community to keep an eye on their kids. Indiana father Michael Haupt says he chose to turn in his 15-year-old son to authorities after finding a loaded .25 caliber weapon in his home. Reports say his son apparently purchased the gun from another juvenile. Haupt says he did it because he had to prove to his son that he wouldn't tolerate such a thing.
My daughter could have got the gun and killed herself. Luckily, I found it. But just as a parent, to other parents out there, all I'm doing is hoping and praying that I can help to save not just my kid's life, but one of your kids' life.
Haupt's 13-year-old son said that his older brother's arrest was probably the best outcome in this situation. Authorities in DeKalb County, Tennessee say security video caught a man taping a piece of notebook paper to the front door of a church, leading to 24 misdemeanor charges. Reports say Bill Gerald's made an obscene gesture before taping the paper to the building, a gesture that the pastor of the church says was very uncomplimentary toward Jesus. A press release from the sheriff's office says Gerald's also targeted 3 other churches in the county. He awaits a court date next week to face 24 charges of harassment, disorderly conduct, vandalism, and desecration of a venerated object. No information has been released on the contents of the notebook paper. The Natcher Parkway is back open this morning after a semi-truck overturned, spilling chicken across it. The truck ended up in the median, and you can see where the chicken went. The driver was not hurt. He says he was trying to avoid a construction vehicle that had pulled out of the work zone. No foul play is suspected. See what I did there? All right. The Commissioner for Veterans Affairs in Bowling Green held a meeting to discuss phase 2 of funding for the new Veterans Nursing Home. To receive federal funding for the Veterans Nursing Home project, a proposal must be sent to Washington in order to be placed on an active funding list. The proposed 90-bed facility will serve over 40,000 veterans, representing 24 counties in South Central Kentucky. And renovations are underway this week at Fountain Square Park. The fountain itself has now been removed. In order to be updated, you can expect refurbished light poles and statues, as well as new sidewalks. One longtime resident says the sights are a little strange without the fountain as the centerpiece.
To my knowledge, she didn't have a name other than the lady in the park. I watched them put her in the crate a minute ago and told her I'd see her again.
The restoration project is expected to last until November. There will also be a half-dozen trees removed from the park. The fountain will be restored in Alabama before returning back to downtown Bowling Green.
Robert Carter and Johnny Haynes are being held in separate jails this morning after they led police on a chase that ended in Hardin County cornfield. Now they're connected to a homicide investigation after officers found a body in Grayson County. Authorities identified the body as 39-year-old James Parks, who lived on Morgantown Road in Caneyville. As officials continue their investigation, we take a look at what happened yesterday.
You can see some of the fence that's wrapped up in the bumper.
This is how a day-long search for 2 murder suspects came to an end in a beat-up, painted-up Camaro.
I was told earlier that they were outside painting the car as Captain Johnson pulled up and started running surveillance on them.
The suspects' weapons still inside the car.
For us to be able to get them under control, it worked out really well.
Those 2 suspects, Robert Carter and Johnny Haynes, accused of shooting James Parks to death in Grayson County.
To have a murder in a small community like that, we don't see that all the time.
As detectives investigated there, the suspects were already on the run. Then, in Ohio County, a bank robbery. This suspect, identified by their sheriff as Robert Carter, is holding a gun. They fled in a black pickup truck, but later they were spotted in a trailer park in Elizabethtown in this.
It's a vehicle that we didn't know about. I'm not sure exactly where it even came from, if it was a friend's car.
The suspects take off. A chase lasts 11 minutes, getting more dangerous by the second. At times, the suspects driving the wrong way and going 130 miles per hour from the heart of E-Town to Glendale.
And they were on the WK Parkway and went down through the shoulder, through the state fence into a cornfield. That's where part of the pursuit happens.
A pivot move brought the car to a stop. From that cornfield to jail. with no one being hurt.
Both suspects are being held separately. Carter is in the Grayson County Jail charged with murder upon other charges. Haynes is in the Hardin County Jail, but he's not been charged with murder. Both are also believed to be involved with an armed robbery in Ohio County shortly after Park's death. After an armed robbery turned into a homicide back in March, 5 people are now in custody for an incident at the La Placita Market in Bowling Green. The U.S. Attorney's Office says the people who murdered Jose Cruz are tied to a string of at least 12 violent robberies this year at small privately owned stores in Kentucky, Tennessee, and North Carolina. Authorities say Johnny Reyes Martinez is the one who shot Cruz. He made his first court appearance in Kansas. 2 other men connected to the robberies are in custody in Virginia. They are to appear in federal court in Bowling Green on November 29th. Timothy Madden's court appearance at the Allen County Judicial Center yesterday was a short one, but we do have new information. The judge explained that there's still a lot of issues to resolve before this case can go to trial in late February. And on top of that, Madden's attorney, Travis Locke, says his team has received DNA results that they've requested and are having their own forensic scientist analyze them.
The public and the court both want to see this case move forward as quickly as possible, but as I have stated previously, in a capital case, it is of paramount importance that the defendant's due process rights are protected throughout every step of the process.
Madden will be back in court November 17th for a supplemental hearing. It's still unclear where the trial will take place due to the change of venue being granted, but up until that point, all proceedings will be in Allen County. WKU professor Matt Detman is on unpaid administrative leave as an investigation looks into a possible misuse of funds. Detman is a civil engineering faculty member. WKU says they are cooperating with investigators. Stay updated on this story on our website at WBKO.com. Judge Mitchell Nance of Barron and Metcalfe counties is resigning. He issued an order in April stating that, quote, under no circumstance would the best interest of the child be promoted by the adoption by practicing homosexual, end quote. After making that statement, the Kentucky Judicial Conduct Commission charged Nance with official misconduct. He will resign December 16th. This morning, business owners in Murfreesboro, Tennessee are getting ready for a planned gathering in their town this weekend. Saturday afternoon, white supremacists are expected to flock to the area to rally for a White Lives Matter. Officials have already ordered people to clear the area starting tomorrow morning. Today, some store owners are boarding up their windows and doors. Others are putting their full trust in law enforcement.
I guess they got their freedom of speech, so they can go do their march all they want. Anybody who gets out of line, I think we got 500 spaces in jail, and we ought to fill every one of them.
There is a rally expected in Shelbyville, Tennessee tomorrow as well. The Bowling Green Warren County NAACP chapter held their informed citizen panel discussion last night to cover relevant topics like hate crimes, community organizing, and education. The group's local president, Martha Amerson, says it's a way to connect with the community and to hear from them. To learn more about what the local NAACP chapter is doing here in the community, you can visit their website at naacp.org.